Talk of the Town. I'm Robyn Zimmerman. I know you've heard the phrase, if you don't have your health, you really don't have anything. Steve Gaito has joined us with Retirement Resource Management, our friend and partner. Good to have you with us on WHHI and to talk about this important topic, your health.
Yeah, and I find that that's one of the big determining factors of how your retirement's going to be.
Right.
And it's important as you're looking at retirement to define what health is.
Yes. So what is it?
Yeah.
What is it, Steve?
Well, for a lot of people, it's being active.
Right.
And getting out there and being intentional. And, we've talked in the past about the three phases, the go-go, the slow-go, and the no-go.
I don't remember you saying that.
Yeah,
I love it. So I'm a go-go.
Exactly.
Len is a...
He's
maybe
kind of slowing
in the middle,
a little bit.
Right?
Yeah. But it's important because, if you're going to travel,
yes,
you've got to be in good shape.
Yes.
Because you don't want one spouse, hiking off,
and then you're sitting on the ship or in the hotel room.
Exactly. And so being intentional is important. And that ties into your budget,
right,
which nobody likes to talk about. But, maybe having that YMCA membership.
Right.
Maybe being part of the tennis club or something along those lines. Even a hiking club. Anything that gets you out, keeps you active, that's good money that you're going to spend.
So do you talk about that when you're in retirement planning for a couple? Or
I do a little bit of that, and we've got an event coming up in June that I'm excited about, where a good friend of mine is going to be educating people on how you create the purpose in your retirement. And I'll work on the funding side, which is really where my expertise is, in helping people be able to match up your expenses with your budget. But understanding what you're going to do and when you're going to do it is very important in retirement.
Right. And so when we're talking health, does this get into, on the financial side, the actual like long-term care insurance, or is that just a piece?
That's a piece.
Okay.
I use myself as an example. A year ago, I was in the hospital.
Yeah.
I had a really weird situation
Yes,
that came on, and I was on a ventilator for 5 days.
Yep.
And it was expensive. We hit our maximum out of pocket, but that's not, in life, that's an inconvenience.
Right.
We had the money, and you're thankful for insurance. But in retirement, having those little things covered, Medicare is going to cover most of it.
Right.
But the long-term care is a different issue that we're dealing with.
And I even have like a little cancer policy.
Yeah.
Just to be on the safe side,
to
I
cover
guess.
those.
I mean, it's not a lot, but...
Well, and that's where your little Medicare supplements come into play.
Right.
They cover those little gaps so you don't have big hits. That's really what I worry about in retirement, are the big hits that hit your budget that you didn't expect. Ours is about $14,000 out of pocket.
Wow.
It's not fun, but that's not like the $100,000 that a long-term care situation is going to be.
Now, when you're working with folks, you probably would provide a resource for, like, if you have Medicare and then a supplemental. That's really not your expertise, but you could direct folks to...
Exactly. That's where I work with other professionals.
Okay.
I like to, farm out things that I'm not good at.
Right.
And Medicare, gosh, it's so complicated.
It's so complicated.
I don't even
know.
want to deal with it.
Right.
And I'd rather work on the budget. And really, if I can fine tune their budget, it'll do a lot more good for the person than choosing plan X, Y, or Z in Medicare.
And one of the questions you have down for us today was, how much will all of this cost and who pays?
Yeah. So, you've got a choice. If you don't take care of your health,
Yeah.
then it's going to come back to bite you. And so paying a little bit now, I think my Y membership for our family is like $80.
Right.
And that's great. My wife honestly uses it a lot more than I do. She goes, well, aren't you going to go to the Y? And I'm like, no, I'm going to go mow the grass.
Yeah, right.
So I get my exercise that way. But that little bit, keeping you in good health, keeps you from having those major expenses down the road.
And so the most important thing that we always talk about is the Boy Scout motto, be prepared, and plan.
Yeah.
And you help clients kind of maneuver through, and you ask them all those questions.
Yeah, I spend a lot more time on understanding what needs to be funded than I do. I don't worry about the portfolio because I don't manage the money.
Right.
I help people understand, how am I going to pay for stuff?
Right.
And really, that's where the peace comes in retirement.
And reducing our taxes.
Yeah, I always that. I'm always going to figure out a way to help people pay less taxes.
Which is so critical. Thank you so much, Steve Gaito.
You.
Once again with us here on WHHI-TV and Talk of the Town. Of course, he is with the Retire Resource Management. You can go on his website, rm.com to get all of his resources and information. And then we'll talk a little bit more about what you're doing in June next
Look forward to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.